What? Why are you inheriting my father's assets?
Well, that's what is written in your father's will.
My husband is to inherit my father's assets.
Let's get a divorce.
My husband, Luke, chose to leave me and remarry my elder sister, Carla. I was in complete despair and had fallen into the bottomless pit. Then, a month after I was kicked out of the house, I suddenly received a phone call from my ex-husband.
Hey, what the hell is going on? You deceived us, didn't you?
My name is Phoebe. I'm a 32-year-old office worker. I currently work for my father's company. Until now, I have been working for 10 years at the company I started working for after graduating from college. But my father asked me to work for his company on the premise that I would be his successor as the next CEO of the company. Now the best people in the office are teaching me all kinds of work. Phoebe, you really are a quick learner. Regardless of the fact that you are the CEO's daughter, you are very talented and skilled. Thank you very much. It's all thanks to the way you all teach me how to work here. Everyone who worked in my father's company was very good at their jobs and very kind. I think this is because of my father, the CEO of the company, is a very virtuous person himself. I am working hard every day, hoping to be like my father someday.
Good job on your work today. Were you busy?
Yes, it was difficult because I had to learn a lot of things. When I came home, my boyfriend Luke greeted me.
Today I made your favorite Salisbury steak.
Oh, yay! He comes home earlier than I do and always cooks dinner for me. He is a very important person who supports me when I am busy with my work. We met at my previous company where I used to work at, where he was my subordinate at the time.
I love you, Phoebe. Please, don't see me just as your subordinate, but also please see me as a man.
I was surprised to hear him say that to me, but from that day on I became aware of him as a man. Once I was attracted to him, I became more and more interested in him, and we went on several dates and ended up dating. Now it has been about 2 years since we started dating, but we started living together a while ago and we are both very happy being together every day. He is a very good cook, and I am energized by his delicious meals every day. He supports me in this way, and now I feel like I can't really live without him. One day, he had prepared lots of side dishes for dinner. Huh? What's wrong, honey? There are lots of side dishes here. Was it a special day today? Like, is it our anniversary or something? I wondered if I had been too focused on my work that I had forgotten something so important. If that was the case, I felt really guilty. But it seems that wasn't the case.
I wanted to talk to you about something very important today, so I prepared these dishes for us.
Something important?
Phoebe, please, marry me. I want to continue to support Phoebe with all my heart.
What? I was surprised by Luke's sudden proposal, but I was extremely happy. Thank you, Luke. I also want to marry you.
Really?
Yes. I'm looking forward to being with you more from now on.
Yay!
Luke looked very happy. Then we enjoyed the delicious meals Luke made and drinks prepared by him. Then, to move things forward, he and I greeted each other's parents. My parents liked him very much because he was sincere and kind. Luke is really handsome and good-looking. My sister Carla also said so about Luke and liked him. Well, how should I put it? It sounded like Carla liked him in a different way, though. Then we proceeded with our wedding preparations. We invited many people from each of our workplaces and friends and had a big wedding. We were so happy to be blessed by so many people. Even though we were living together, our newlywed life felt fresh and happy for the two of us. My husband took the lead in housework after our marriage, and I was able to devote myself to my work.
Phoebe, you seem to be working even harder these days. I'm getting reports like that from your managers.
Really? I'm sure it's because Luke is taking the initiative to take care of things at home. He's helping me out a lot, you know.
Oh, well, you must be very grateful to him. He seems like a nice guy.
He doesn't seem nice. He's really a nice, good person.
Oh, right. Sorry.
My father also complimented my husband, which made me happy. 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. During that time, many things happened. First, I was promoted as the section chief. Then my mother was diagnosed with cancer last year and recently passed away. She took very good care of Carla and I. I was very sad when she had passed away. My mother's death was also very painful for my father. Although my father puts on a brave face at work, he sometimes appeared very sad and depressed when he was with his family. My husband was worried about my father, so one day he made me a proposal.
If you'd like, why don't we move in with your father at your parents' house?
What?
If we do that, you'd feel better too, right?
Luke, thank you. I immediately proposed to my father the idea that we live together.
Phoebe, Luke, are you sure about this? Sir, we both care about you. In times like this, let's support each other as a family.
Luke, I was very happy that my husband cared about my father like this. And my father was also happy to hear that. So, Luke and I moved into my parents' home and started living with my father. My husband took the initiative in doing the housework at my parents' house and served delicious meals to my father and I.
Oh, this dish is really delicious. Thank you. It goes really well with red wine. Oh, that's true. I won't be able to stop drinking now.
Father, you're drinking too much.
Well, you've been drinking a lot too, Phoebe.
That's for sure.
Well, tomorrow is the day off, so let's drink without having to worry about anything.
My father also liked my husband's cooking, and we enjoyed our meals together every day. My father gradually regained his energy, and even outside of the office, he began to smile more and more. He began to work hard as the CEO of the company, and I was able to devote myself to my work with peace of mind. About a year later, however, my father suddenly got sick. My husband and I rushed to the hospital. Father, are you all right?
Oh, I'm sorry, both of you, for making you all worry. No, but I'm glad you're okay. The doctors told me it would have been dangerous if you were taken to the hospital too late. Is that so? I may have pushed myself a little too hard. I've been working so hard for all these years after all.
My father had really worked really hard without hardly taking any breaks since he started his company. Therefore, he must have pushed himself very hard when he was much younger. My father's condition was critical and it seems like he needs to be hospitalized. The people at the company were quite upset about the situation of their CEO being hospitalized. I made every effort to support the company in my father's place. My husband went to visit my father even when I was too busy with work to go. However, my father's condition was getting worse and worse, and my husband and I decided that we had to prepare mentally for what was coming. About a month later, my father peacefully passed away. I was very saddened by his death. My husband hugged me as I broke down in tears and said,
"Let's see your father off properly."
I nodded my head in agreement, and together with my husband, we prepared and made arrangements for the funeral. Many people attended my father's funeral, which showed how much he was loved by so many people. We saw my father off, and the funeral was held without any issues. A few days later, a lawyer and my sister came to my parents' house to discuss about the inheritance.
Well then, I will open the will.
The lawyer opened the will and read out the contents.
It says that Luke will inherit all of your father's estate, Carla will inherit the remainder, and Phoebe will not inherit anything.
Huh? What do you mean? I could not believe my ears. Why would I not inherit my father's assets? Why are you inheriting everything, Luke? I did not understand this point either. But my husband didn't seem to question it at all.
Well, that's what is written in your father's will.
He said it as if it was a normal thing.
Father-in-law wrote in his will that you will not inherit anything, so you have to give up your rights to inherit.
What? No way. Well, it can't be helped, Phoebe. Even I only get the remaining portion of the estate too. Carla would say that, but I was also concerned about my sister's lack of rebellion against this will. She didn't get along with my father very well. She was the type of person who only wanted what was good for herself and had no appreciation for her parents. So, when Carla was a child, she did whatever she wanted and got my parents into a lot of trouble. My father and mother had a hard time with her, but after she graduated from a vocational school, my sister moved from one man's house to another and never got a regular job. She'd tend to go back to our parents' house whenever she needed some money. When she reported that my husband and I were getting married, she must have come to see us out of curiosity. It was still understandable that my sister, who had been troubling my parents in this way, would only receive the remainder of the estate. But it was really strange that my sister did not go against the will. It was impossible that my sister, who often came to collect money, would not be angry at the fact that her share of the inheritance was so small. However, I could not find out the reason, so I had no choice but to proceed according to the will. My husband was to inherit my father's estate. According to the will, Luke was to inherit $3 million in cash, and my husband was to inherit almost all of it. And I had to go through the process of giving up my rights to inherit. Well, I guess my father had his own ideas. Right after I had given up my rights to inherit, my husband's attitude suddenly changed, and he suddenly said something unbelievable.
Let's get a divorce.
Excuse me? What do you mean?
There is someone else I want to be with.
What? Does that mean you were having an affair?
That's what people might say. Well, from my point of view, I should say it was a fateful encounter.
You're horrible. You betrayed me.
Well, come on now. Don't be so angry. I'm inviting my mistress over today, too.
Huh? I wondered what the hell Luke was trying to do. Then the front door opened and my sister Carla came into the living room. Hi, Phoebe. Carla? Could it be that your mistress is my sister, Carla? I'm sorry. I stole your precious husband away from you. But he chose me too. So it can't be helped, you see.
Yeah, you're right. I like Carla more than Phoebe.
You're so handsome, Luke. My husband and my sister was flirting right in front of me like that. So, my husband chose to leave me and remarry my sister.
Here are the divorce papers. Just sign it and get out. I inherited this house from my father-in-law anyways. I went to visit him every day at the hospital, and when we talked, I guess he fell in love with me even more. He allowed me to inherit all of his assets, you know. But well, he didn't know that Carla and I were dating behind his back, did he?
My husband smirks nastily as he says that. He really is the worst. I packed my bags and left the house, feeling hopeless and helpless, with grief, sadness, anger, and with every emotion except for happiness. I was in complete despair and had fallen into the bottomless pit. At any rate, I stayed at a business hotel, and after crying all night, I went to a real estate agency. And I immediately rented a room in an apartment for a single person. Then I worked while my wounds were still healing. Even if my husband and my sister betrayed me, I had to make sure the company was in good hands. Then about a month after I was kicked out of the house, I suddenly received a phone call from my ex-husband.
Hey, what the hell is going on? You deceived us, didn't you?
Huh? What on earth are you talking about?
It's about your father's debt. Why didn't you tell us anything about it?
Huh? Debt? I couldn't believe my ears. I had never heard of my father being in debt. But according to my husband and sister, who inherited the estate, my father had $4 million in debt.
It seems he was a joint guarantor for some of his friends' debt. And now that your father is gone, all the bill is coming to us, the heirs.
I was completely speechless and surprised. And I wondered if this might have been my father's plan after all. Then the voice on the phone changed to my sister. You knew everything about this, didn't you? That's why you agreed to the divorce, didn't you? No, I didn't. I was just in shock and wanted to get out of that house as soon as possible, so that's why. I didn't know our father was in that much debt. How could this happen? Even if we sell this house, we will still be left with another $500,000 in debt. That's how my sister and my ex-husband would scream to me. But this was a great opportunity for me. But I already gave up my rights to inherit, so you both have no choice but to take the inheritance, and you guys are the ones who have to pay back the debt, you know? Also, aren't you forgetting about this? The alimony for me? Wait a minute. Are you trying to charge alimony to us who are suffering already? Carla, you and Luke just put yourselves in a situation where you had to suffer, didn't you? I was intentionally put in a situation where you two inflicted emotional pain to me. It's only natural that you should pay for that, isn't it? I'm going to charge you and Luke $30,000 each. Go ahead and taste the despair of suffering in all these debts. I heard the pathetic screams of my ex-husband and my sister. I hung up the phone and immediately filed a claim for alimony to the two of them through my lawyer. The lawyer I requested at that time was the one who read the will at my father's funeral. He handed me a letter left by my father saying,
Actually, I have a letter from your father.
When I read the contents, I was astonished. To my surprise, my father knew about the affair between my ex-husband and my sister. When he was in the hospital, his two secretaries saw them being together. So my father thought of this revenge to punish my ex-husband and sister for betraying me. He also wrote that he would give up his position as CEO to me, and that he had already informed the executives of the company about it.
Phoebe, please take good care of my company and the employees.
I was determined to protect my father's company. Soon after that, my sister and my ex-husband suddenly stormed into the company.
I am my father-in-law's son. That's why I'm going to be the CEO of the company.
Yes, normally the husband of the eldest daughter should be appointed as the CEO, right? The two of them insisted so, and to that, the vice president began to talk to them.
It has been decided that the position of CEO will be given to Mrs. Phoebe. As the outsiders, we will ask you two to pay for damages for interfering with our business.
Damages for interfering with your business? The two of them flinched at the calm remark of the vice president and the word damages.
We could go ahead and call the police and report you guys as being suspicious, you know? In any case, you guys are going to suffer a considerable amount of pain.
Hearing that, the two quickly fled out of the company. I guess they didn't want to be even more in debt. Since then, my ex-husband and sister have not shown their faces at all. Well, I guess they are too busy paying off their debts. Then I officially became the CEO of the company, and now I am working very hard as a manager with the support of many people. Many of my business partners continues their contract with our company because they see me working so hard. I am grateful for the kindness of those around me, and I will do my best to become a CEO who is adored and admired, like my father. Luke, who seemed kind at first glance, was blinded by money and women in the end, after all. However, Phoebe's father handled the situation calmly, and I thought he was indeed a great CEO. In the end, I got to see Carla and Luke suffer, and I thought that they both deserved what they got. I hope Phoebe will do her best as a business owner from now on, but she is still young, so I hope she takes her time to find a new partner as well. I hope Phoebe's life will be happy from now on. Thank you for watching to the end. Please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.
Am I hearing you wrong? Will you say it again? My husband, who has looked down on me because he makes more money than me, is now on his knees in front of me.
I love her. I've never felt this way before. I want you to leave me. I will give you custody. In fact, we are going to have a baby, and I want her to give birth safely. So will you get out my house this month?
He says this with sparkling eyes, but what he's saying is disgusting. Okay, here are the divorce papers. I will only take the younger girls. I don't know about that other kid. I said in a calm voice.
Take our eldest daughter with you.
He was really insisting. I don't want to do that, because she is. My name is Irene. I'm 45 years old. I have a husband, Tommy, who is the same age as me, and 3 girls. The oldest is 20 years old, and the younger girls are in the 5th and 4th grades. I work full-time as an office worker. I work early in the morning and still prepare dinner even on the days I come home late. Good morning, Mom. My elementary school kids wake up by themselves, but my husband is not a morning person and doesn't wake up easily even if I call out to him.
Hey, why didn't you wake me up?
After a while, my husband wakes up with a grumpy look on his face. You're not a child. You should wake up by yourself. I tell him coldly.
If I'm late, it's your fault.
My husband raises his voice. What are you talking about? It's your fault, isn't it? When my daughter blurts out a good argument, my husband's face turns red.
How dare you talk back to your parents?
Oh, shut up. He's always like this when he's not in a good mood. I grumble to myself. Oh, we're going to be late if we don't get out of here soon, won't we? My husband clicks his tongue at my words and rushes out of the house. This is a scene every morning in our house. And there is another problem. Micah, are you awake? If you don't get ready soon, you'll be late for work. I called out to my oldest daughter, Micah, through the door. Shut up! I quit work yesterday. Go away! I heard a noise from inside the room, as if she was throwing something at the door. Micah has a temper. After graduating from high school, she got a job, but it didn't last long and she quit. They moved from one job to another. As for the reason for her resignation, she said that she felt excluded, and the colleagues talk about her behind her back. She didn't listen to what I had to say. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. she would apologize like that, but made fun of me. When it turned out that she had been lining her own pocket by selling my younger daughter's personal belongings without their permission, I thought they were trash, so I got rid of them. When she said that with a smirk on her face, I was so angry that I almost hit her. When the next phone bill exceeded $500, I scolded her. "Do you think money grows on trees? If you want to play, you should go work." Micah seems to feel bad about it, and she was silent and sulking. And then my husband came home from work and said,
Hey, don't yell at her like that. Don't you feel sorry for Micah? I make most of the money in this house anyway. If we are having a hard time making ends meet, it's because of your poor management of the family.
He looked down on me and laughed. "It's your constant pampering that's ruining it." "Shut up! Didn't you hear what Dad said? I'm trying to get some rest and relaxing. You are always whining. Don't act like you're my mother." Micah glared at me sharply and went back to her room. "Look, I can't do this anymore. I can't deal with her. Neither can you. You come home late. You don't do anything at home. Is earning money your only duty as a father?" My husband sighs at the sight of me.
Isn't it a mother's job to take care of the children? I feel bad about Micah too, but what can I do?
He said this to me without any apology. "Hey, you're coming home late every day these days. You're not cheating on me, are you?" My husband's face scrunched up a little at my words.
So this is about a friend of mine who has a wife and child and has fallen in love with another woman. I'm trying to help him with that. What would you do, by the way?
Well, I don't know. I would talk to the cheater first, see how serious she is, and then make a decision. I think it's best to start talking as soon as possible.
I see. I guess so.
After mumbling to himself, he went into the bedroom. I took out my phone and made a call to someone. It was the next evening. "I wonder if I'm deaf. Could you repeat that?" In front of me was my husband, who usually looks down on me in a big way, and a young woman who is standing by him, looking at me with a slightly smug look on her face. This woman, Jill, works for my husband and is 20 years old like Micah.
I like her. I never felt this way before. I want you to leave me. I will give you custody. In fact, Jill is going to have a baby, and I want her to have it in peace. So I want you to out of my house by the end of this month.
He looked at me with sparkling eyes like a boy who had found his first love, yet said the worst words ever. "Give up the custody? You just didn't want it." Since I kept quiet, Jill, the cheating partner, immediately talked to me. "I'm indebted to you. Tommy loves me more than he loves you, though. Looks like your marriage has not been going well for a long time. Then please give him to me." Jill giggled.
You said so yesterday. You said you will make a decision after you hear what the other person has to say. Jill loves me, and of course I love her. I'm begging you. Will you break up with me?
I was annoyed by the atmosphere, as if I was the bad guy tearing them apart. I stood up quickly and came back with something. "Okay, here are the divorce papers. I will only take the younger girls. I don't know anything about that other kid," I said calmly, but my husband was extremely furious.
Why? Take Micah with you.
In short, he wants to spend a happy newly wedded life with his young wife, leaving everything else to me as before. How can I allow such a thing? I don't want to do that. She's not the one I carried in my belly. Since we are getting divorced, she's Micah's mother from now on, isn't she? She snickered at me. What? I don't know anything about that. Tommy, you said you will leave the kids to your wife. I don't want to take care of the kids. I don't know how to deal with elementary school kids. Jill, who had looked so relaxed earlier, suddenly became impatient. My husband looked troubled. Huh? Elementary school kids? What are you talking about? The one you're going to take care of is a 20-year-old woman just like you. Huh? Jill's surprised face at that time was so funny that I can't help laughing when I remember it now. Actually, Micah is not my child. 3 years ago, Micah came to our house with a big baggage. Who are you? I'm here to see my dad. It should be okay, so just let me in, she said to me with the same forceful attitude she has now. I immediately called my husband, and when I told him,
No way! You are kidding, right?
he had an illegitimate child. He had a child with a woman he had a relationship with before he met me, and he gave her a sum of money as child support without acknowledging her. Her mother passed away, and none of her relatives took Micah in. She must have had an attitude problem. One of the relatives tried to find her real father, my husband, and so Micah came to our house. At the time, my children were in the early grades of elementary school, and I didn't know how to explain the sudden appearance of a half-sister. Naturally, I refused to take Micah in. Then my husband got down on his knees, as he is doing now.
Please, just for a little while. When she graduates from high school, of course I will let her leave. Just until then, please.
I just watched my pathetic husband. Micah was a sophomore in high school at that time. I reluctantly agreed. I explained to the younger children that she was my husband's relative. At first, she was reserved. As time went by, Micah became arrogant to me and my daughters. She looked just like my husband, and I felt that she was really his child. Micah was sleeping on a mattress on the floor, but then, I want my own room. When she told my husband this, he told me he had no choice but to give my younger daughter's room to Micah. And so, my two daughters shared a room with each other. Naturally, I was furious, but my husband said,
It's only for a little while, right? She's leaving next year anyway.
After Micah graduated from high school, she stayed at home and showed no sign of leaving. Furthermore, my husband suggested to me to treat Micah as my eldest daughter. At this point, my heart was filled with a desire to divorce my husband. I guess I had already made up my mind when I found out that he had an illegitimate child. My husband had spoiled Micah, who was causing problems without even facing them. If discipline is a role of a parent, then it is my husband's role to discipline Micah. It is none of my business. I increased my working hours from part-time to full-time as soon as I took Micah in order to get our lives on a more stable footing. When I had some stability in my income and found a place to live with my daughters, I found out that my husband was cheating on me. The thought of my husband divorcing me without me knowing anything about it and living a comfortable married life with his new partner ignited my desire for revenge. I snickered at their ugly argument in front of me and snatched away the divorce papers filled out by my husband. Well then, I will leave this house as you wish. The house still has a mortgage, and you will each pay me alimony from now on, right? Oh, of course, and child support. Jill, you're in a lot of trouble. This old man will be 60 in less than 20 years. You're gonna be working hard to support him. That's great. I admire so much. Jill blushed when I smiled at her. What are you talking about? That's not what you told me, Tommy. You asked me to be a stay-at-home wife when we got married, didn't you?
Well, that's...
His reply irritated Jill even more. Oh, really? That's even harder. This old man doesn't help me with the housework at all. Oh, And he can't get up by himself in the morning, so you have to wake him up. And of course, he won't take care of the kids, so you will be on your own. Jill was starting to get nervous about the consequences of her future as I spoke cheerfully. I felt sad as I was talking. My husband had not been like this from the beginning. He had done a good job of sharing the housework and childcare with me when we were first married. However, as he got promoted, he started to one-up me because he was earning more. And to top it all off, he has an unruly illegitimate child named Micah. What in the world is the reason for not divorcing? I have no money for alimony. What am I going to do? I'm about to have a baby. Don't you feel sorry for me? Well, I feel sorry for the baby in your belly. To have a woman who can't even say a single word of apology for destroying someone's family as a mother, and to have a stupid man as a father who thinks that the only role of a father is to make money. I said to them in a calm manner, and they turned red in the face.
Jill, don't worry about the money. I didn't tell her this, but I actually have a good amount of money saved up from my bachelor days, so there's no need to worry about the money.
Jill's face lit up instantly. She looked at me as if to say, "Hey, I won." "Oh, I see. Oh, I thought I saw Micah rummaging through your wallet a little while ago. I think it was a credit card." My husband's face turned pale as I made a deliberate pretense of thinking. He rushed to Micah's room.
Hey, you didn't.
Micah seems to have overheard our discussion from her room. "Well, I borrowed some money. I don't know the total amount, but maybe about $2,000 this month." Micah laughs bitterly, but soon turns the tables on him and says, "But I don't have a choice. I'm in the middle of recharging my batteries, so it's your fault for being stingy and not giving me an allowance." Jill, the cheating partner, looked at the arguing father and daughter with a tense expression on her face. I was standing behind her. Isn't she an energetic girl? I couldn't even handle her. Good luck, her new mom. Oh, and don't forget the alimony. Jill fell to her knees and started waiting. I left her there without a word and walked out of the house feeling light. "Thanks for waiting. Let's go back to our new home." My daughters came running up to me with smiles on their faces. "Are you okay?" My friend, who I had asked to watch over my daughters, was worried about me. It was a big win. I gave a peace sign and high-fived my friend. "This is my friend's story," he said. Wouldn't anyone think 80% of the story is about himself? I was struggling to hold back my laughter. The night before, my husband told me the story, and I realized it. So I asked my friends to take care of my daughters for me. I laughed at my husband, who really brought his girlfriend. I was preparing to leave home to get a divorce from my husband. The contract for the new house had been signed a few days before, and most of the belongings had been moved out. My husband, who is indifferent to our family, was not even aware of this. A few days later, I was contacted by both of them through my lawyer.
Your husband is demanding a reduction in the amount, and the cheating partner says that the relationship with your husband is untrue.
I submitted a new audio recording of the discussion. Then I started ignoring their calls, so I sent a certified letter to their workplaces and the cheater's parents' house. They seemed to have given up, and the amount of money I had requested was transferred later. The next month, my husband and Micah appeared in front of me on my way home from work.
Irene, please come home. I was wrong. You're all I've got. You're still mad at me, aren't you? Can you forgive me for this?
Come home, Mom. Dad expects me to do all the chores. They had tears in their eyes. You are both trying to sell me something I don't want to buy. It's pretty disgusting. So you'd better stop. I'm not angry. Oh, I don't have any feelings for you at all. And oh, isn't that young wife with you today? My husband looked down as I looked around deliberately. Oh, and who is your mother? Do you mean me? I have only 2 daughters. You're not my daughter. Micah, aren't you the one who told me not to act like your mother? You don't like this. You don't like that. Get a grip. I scolded Micah like this over and over again. Micah was the one who rejected me, and in my own way, I've done my best to deal with her even if she was not my own child. But that is over now. Now that we are divorced, these 2 are completely strangers to me. If they come again, I will call the police without hesitation. Of course, because they are outsiders now. They ran away from me as if they panicked at the word police. I thought that they looked just like each other, and their thoughtless personality were just like a father and child indeed. Incidentally, I knew from my lawyer that Jill and Tommy had broken up soon after that. It turned out that Jill's pregnancy was also a crazy story, and that they had been making a joint effort to avoid my demand for alimony, thinking that I might feel sorry for them if they told me so. Anyways, they told their lawyer that their love was pure. I don't understand what kind of mind she has at all, but maybe my ex-husband, who became a head of the department at a young age, looked good to her. However, it turns out that the man is no better than a schoolboy who can't even get up in the morning by himself. She should be thankful to me that she found that out before they got married. By the way, I found out about the affair from my ex-husband's subordinate, whom I met by chance at the supermarket.
He is very close to one of his subordinates, and there are some rumors about it in the company. I thought if it was really okay, because their age gap was like a father and child, but
I didn't have any doubt in my mind to trust my ex-husband after hearing such a rumor. My ex-husband was demoted, and Jill, the cheater, resigned from her job out of embarrassment. Jill seems to have borrowed money from her parents to pay the alimony, and now she is working from morning till night under their watchful eyes. She seems to have been thinking of an elegant life as a housewife married to my ex-husband, who owns a house and is a department manager. But such a life is a dream. She must have learned the harshness of reality the hard way. Don't underestimate life, you little girl. The stupid father and daughter is still living in that house, but they have been fighting every day. And when it got worse, the neighbors have called the police. I think Micah is just frustrated, though my ex-husband seems to be doing fatherly things. I'm sure the house is in shambles, but it doesn't matter to me. 20-year-olds are usually considered adults. You can't stay a child forever. I hope they have a hard time from now on. And as for me, thank you for everything, Mom. I blush with embarrassment, and my daughters give me a handkerchief. It was the same handkerchief that Micah had sold without permission, and that they had given to me on Mother's Day a long time ago. My parents are gone, and I don't have many relatives to rely on. But I have many friends and such kind daughters. I'm a very blessed person just because of that. Thinking of this, I smiled and said thank you.